We are now on episode 2 of Stranger Things, Trick or Treat Freak, and I am with my friend Isaiah.
Hello.
So, Isaiah, throughout the episode, there are certain things that I noticed about the characters that are significantly different, I would say. Um, Nancy, I would say, Nancy and Steven, their relationship has kind of changed from what it was in the first season and now what it is in the second season. Steve is more mature.
Yeah, definitely.
Steve is not the person inviting her to parties, even though invites her to a party. He's not the person who's like trying to keep her there, get her drunk, sleep with her. He's trying to
Right.
keep her control. He's trying to be respectful. And I will say, I'm actually now starting to like Steve. I was not a fan of him at all in the first
Yeah.
season.
You could tell his motives changed a lot. Because after the first season they did have sex, and now he wants a relationship with her. You could tell, because we haven't seen his friends in the episode at all. It's just been Steve by himself going after Nancy, and you could definitely tell also by his actions at the party when Nancy does get drunk, and Steve is trying to stop her. He does not want her to get drunk. He doesn't want to take advantage of the alcohol in her system. You know. Um,
Yeah, he definitely respects her. Which is this is one of the reasons why I like it. Which is weird because you think Jonathan's gonna come in and you know start talking to Nancy, but he doesn't, which is another reason why I liked his character because he's respectful, he's controlled.
yeah.
Something different about him is well, I won't say it's different. I think he's always wanted to be that kind of kid, but now he's actually getting to go to a party, uh, which I think is interesting.
I don't really see Jonathan as someone who wanted to go to. Well, maybe before when he was younger, but like right now, I don't see him as someone who really thinks, oh man, I missed out on a party. It's just, it's another high school party. He says it in the episode when he meets the new character Samantha. He says, yeah, I'm the guy who hates parties, or whatever. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, cause I look at that as him just saying that because like he feels like he's out of place and he feels like he has to break the ice somehow, some way. And he has to throw in a joke like that
Right.
that'll kind of get people talking to him. Um, Character changes. Mike's character. And
I
I,
hated him in the first season. I hate him even more now.
yeah, I loved him in the first season. He was like if I were to write down qualities of a friend, I would write down every quality that I saw him have. And now in the second season, it would be qualities I don't want to have in a friend, and it's just like he's selfish. Um, there's just bad communication between the friends.
Yeah.
It looks like the friends are going to be dividing.
Hmm.
Instead of it being Lucas and Mike, being best friends, it's now Will and Mike, which is good. I guess you're gonna, to some extent, you're gonna have Will have a relationship with someone.
Right.
So I can understand why they're doing that. But I don't know what they're doing, and they're not explaining why Mike is acting like that. I'm hoping and I'm holding out that maybe he really misses 11, but it's been 353 days,
No,
and so
yeah.
it's like I don't know if that's gonna mess him up where he's just acting like a jerk to all his friends. It's possible, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of what Mike is doing.
You did hint at it before. When you did say loss, he is one of the only, if not the only person who has lost something in the group, and cause he was closest to 11, especially with the kiss. And talking about that, the snowfall dance or this snowball, I can't
Right.
really
Oh,
remember.
right. Now you're right. Now I can understand because he was planning on
Yes.
like doing more things with her.
Hmm.
Um, but I, at some point you got to realize that like your friend is gone,
Yeah.
and so you can't treat everyone else like crap. But
Exactly.
what we
And they were talking about the Lucas. I think Lucas said it about how this isn't a dictatorship. Um, and they shouldn't have to run everything by Mike for the friend group. And Dustin said it. This is a democracy. So whatever the majority of the group thinks is best is what they should do.
right, yeah, and that's something I agree with because you hear him have that line where he's like, you just ruin my night,
Yeah.
and then Will has that um, vision. It's kind of like he's stuck between the upside down and the in reality. Um,
Mm.
and
He just
Mike
goes
kind of
into a
uses
whole
that
different
as an excuse, is like to get out
to
of
get
there.
out. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, this guy is terrible.
Yeah. I mean, Mike is really. Hate him. Now there's even more reason just to hate Mike.
Well, I will say with Mike is there's just so many redeeming qualities. Like when he's sitting down talking to Will, you can see that he's talking to Will because like they both to an extent lost something. They lost their freedom to some extent. Will can't go back to acting like a normal kid because he's having
Yeah.
all these visions of the upside down. It's
Upside
like
down.
he
Yep.
can't get away from that. And every time Mike is um, in his room, he's reminded of 11, and then occasionally 11 communicates with him, which is interesting because they
Yeah.
hint at that
Oh my
towards the
gosh.
end of the
That
show.
was so good. Where she's in her room and she blindfolds herself and she has the static going and she walks up to Will and you could tell she's in that she's not in the world but she's in that when they dunked her in the tank and she's like and it's all black around her and she sees certain things and she goes up to Mike and she tries to communicate with him but he can't see her. She's not really there, but she's there. I thought that was really good, especially when they hinted at it earlier on in the episode, and they showed actually how it.
Because I forgot when you're in the upside down, there can be communication between the people. There's actually like with Miss Ryder, um, she could Will could actually communicate with her to
Right,
some extent.
right, but I don't think 11 is in the upside down because it doesn't look like the upside down at all. It's completely black.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right because she got out the upside down earlier in the show.
Yeah, and
So it's interesting.
she's sitting.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I guess they'll explain how she's able to do that
yeah,
later on in the show. There's another female character in the group, and that's kind of what we were talking about
yes.
earlier.
Max introduced last episode, but didn't really have too much of a role. But now, joining the group for the Halloween night, which I thought was interesting. Especially since Dustin and Lucas both seem to have taken quite a liking to her.
Yeah, I'm. Here's the thing. I'm a fan of like when they do. When they show bullying in shows,
Mm-hmm.
because they're especially with this show, they do it well.
Mm-hmm.
It's never over the top. But one thing that I am noticing is that now it's becoming over the top. For me at least, we have the older brother just being this over the top psychopath who is getting ready to run over. Um,
Mike, Lucas, and Dustin while
right.
they're riding the bike.
Right, and it's just like, how insane do we have to make certain people? Can we just have,
Right.
someone get name called? We don't have to do that every season either. We can have the characters grow past that, but they do that, and that was the problem that I saw with the movie. They just over dramatize the bullies, and it becomes unbelievable.
I don't want to make assumptions because we don't really know his character all too well. We've seen him in 3 scenes so far out of these 2 episodes. The first scene where he showed up and he gets out the car and the girls are staring at him, and I guess he's like some bad boy. They're really attracted to him. The second scene where he says she is late and she's gonna have to skateboard home again, and he has the car, which I found interesting. And then they have that argument in the car, him and Max, and I thought that was really interesting, because it insinuates on their past and how something happened for them to move where they are now. And then the last scene where he becomes like the keg king or whatever, and he steps up to like someone else.
Oh, right, Mike, right.
Right. So, no, not Mike.
You're talking about season 1.
No, I'm talking about season 2 where he was drinking. They're holding him upside down and he's drinking the keg. Like the alcohol.
Oh,
They're at the party.
right. Okay.
Yeah, the brother, Billy.
Okay.
Max's brother Billy. So he's definitely a wild card. almost running over the main characters, Mike,
Yeah.
Mike Dustin, and Lucas.
Yeah. Now you wrote that you understood why Mike was feeling that way. Why do you think Mike acts the way he does?
Back to what I said. The loss. Because loss does change people a lot. It's, especially when it's someone you love. Because when you lose someone, you feel like because they were such a big part of your life. Maybe not with 11, but because they're young, going through puberty. It's his first love. I'm assuming. You see a future with that person, and then when they're gone, and the people you're with, it just it's not the same.
You know what? That's true. I didn't think about it like that because when I was a teenager, I can definitely understand now like how you could have someone even just were with for like a week, and that can like really bother you for like a while, and that can definitely bother you. Okay, so I can understand why Mike is acting like that to some extent. I just can't wait for 11 to return and we can get over that stage of Mike acting like that because. As much as I love Finn Wolfhard, I just don't know how far I can like tolerate this character.
Yeah. And one more thing, I have so many questions about Will and that shadow beast that showed up. It's so and then the noises that Will is hearing sounds like the noise that came from Dustin's garbage can at the end when he peeked in. And my prediction is it's the what do they call
Baby
it?
Demogorgon.
Baby Demogorgon. Yes.
Right.
That's what I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, because the Demogorgon was destroyed. So
Yeah.
now another thing that I think is interesting. Hopper is hiding 11.
Yes.
Why not tell the kids? He knows the kids aren't going to say anything. Why can't he tell the kids? Is it because he thinks that they're tap the walls or what?
I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's back to the first episode where the what you call it, Barb, Nancy's friend, her parents, they hired that detective to look into finding Barb, and he apparently has some evidence, and it's relating back to 11. And he thinks it's like the Russians or something, and it's coming in.
Right.
So I'm thinking he doesn't want to get her involved, and especially with Will going through this, he comes in like I'm guessing like every time he has an episode or something, and talking about it.
Right.
I don't think he wants 11 to get involved in that, especially since he has those superpowers. So
now speaking of characters that lost something and a character who really had no resolution. I mean, you could say that. Mike lost something, but he ultimately got his best friend back. I mean, he got like
exactly.
So it's not Nancy. Barb was missing. She's that guilt is still on her.
Nancy did lose Barb.
And it really is her fault to an extent. You think about telling your friend to go after you invited them, which is so weird because it's kind of the opposite, but we have it with Steve and Nancy. But what's happening to like Barb and Nancy? One doesn't want to go to a party. One wants to control themselves,
right.
And then again, Nancy in this situation is always be turning off her friends. Always.
Yeah, and I'm glad you made that point because I didn't even realize that. They do go to a party, and Nancy's she wants to be with that person. Have a safe link, and then she ends up getting drunk, and then she ends up turning off that person and doing something bad. First season, she turned off Barb. Barb went by herself and ultimately got killed. And this season, she turns off Steve, and Steve left, and Nancy's blatantly drunk. Not she can't get home on her own.
Right, and they're trying to tell us that the reason she's getting drunk is because she's just so upset about Barb.
Yeah.
But I'm not. It's not. I believe that that's why the character may be doing that, but I don't think that the actress is selling that. And so I mean that may just be one of her limitations as an actress.
I don't want to say limitations. I feel like there's multiple factors because there's the big scene in the bathroom where she says she doesn't love Steve. Well, she doesn't like say it, but she hints at it, and Steve is like, "You don't love me," and she says, "It's bullshit." She says it's bullshit. And she keeps saying that to every time Steve tries to affirm their love, and she just says it's bullshit, and Steve leaves. And that scene, I want to see how it affects their relationship, Nancy, Steve, and Jonathan, because we all know Jonathan still has some feelings for her.
Right, and I definitely think that they're going to go from that, and they're going to when you see Jonathan take Nancy home,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks at her, and you can tell that they're. I'm not sure, but I believe that they're going to set up a relationship between
Yes,
John.
I also
Which is,
believe.
I'm glad they didn't do it in the first season because it's kind of predictable,
Mm-hmm.
and they still might not do it. We might not get it until like the
Yeah.
third season, but you can the way she says Jonathan is like, oh man, he didn't leave me. I was acting like an idiot. Um,
I think the
so what
last.
was
Hmm?
go ahead.
I think the last thing I put up here was dividing the group with Dustin and Lucas and Mike and Will, because you see Dustin and Lucas spending a whole lot more time together, and that was in the first episode. In this episode, because they have the same interest in Max, and you see them spending more time together, and then you see Mike being more separated until Will has that episode, and then Mike comes to comfort Will, and they're sitting together and they're talking about their problems. Will talking about the creatures he's seeing and the noises that he's hearing on the upside down, and Mike talking about his feelings for Elle. And this is creating
Yeah, not even that. It's creating like there's gonna be tension between the group.
Yeah.
Eventually, someone either be Dustin or it'll be Luke, or maybe even Max. Someone's gonna bring up the way that Mike is acting, and
yes.
I can't wait to see that because last time they had the conflict in the show was one of the rising points for season 1. And so what are your overall views on episode 1?
Episode 2 or 1?
Sorry, episode 2.
Yeah. Okay. I think now episode 1 set up some things. Like I said, it put it on track, and now episode 2, I guess it's like paving it. I would say smoothing it out, making it I don't know where I'm going with this, but like it's definitely heating up.
Yeah.
With the conflicts between the group, conflicts between Nancy and Steve's relationship, Jonathan, just Jonathan as a whole. I'm really starting to get interested in his character. Hooper and 11, it's really heating up, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, this one thing that I'm noticing as I'm watching episode 2 is that the scope of the show is just like ever increasing.
Yes.
It's not as confined as the first season, which I really enjoyed about the first season. It felt like this one long 8 hour movie, and we're not getting that from this these episodes that have come up. So what are your overall views and thoughts on the episode? What would you grade it?
I think
So do your views first, then your grade overall. How the season is like carrying itself as a whole.
all right, from episode 1, I think that was like a good starting point. Like you're building something. It's a good base. It's a strong base. And then episode 2, I think, that's when you start to add your own flavor into it and make it, make it stand out, make it really good. And I'd have to grade this episode probably like 8 out of 10. No, 9 out of 10. I don't really see too many things that I don't. Yeah, I don't have a problem with anything in the show except for Nancy and Mike. Those are the two characters that I'm really hating right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Overall, I would say slow first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Picks up towards the end, always drags you, and now you're like, okay, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Second episode, I'm gonna have to rewatch just because I was a little distracted.
Yeah.
But what I saw and was definitely enjoyable. I like the conversations between Mike and Will. Like the conversations between Max and Lucas and Dustin.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice. We're making new friends, and
Yeah.
now there's a separation of friends. I hope that they don't ultimately separate,
Yeah.
because they were great friends.
That would be a good conflict though, if they separated and then they had to get back together.
What if they don't get back together? That would be a great conflict. Because sometimes friends do that and they never get back together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know the Duffer Brothers. They really wanted to make this like them going through puberty, and so we want to have some conflicts between friends, which I would say, you know, I don't know, but I guess I'll have to agree. Puberty does at times, when people go through puberty,
Mm-hmm.
it makes people ultimately like irrational, very selfish,
Yeah.
very self. Whereas before you were selfish, but not to that extent. Like now you're like, I don't care what anybody says. I'm all for myself, and that's what Mike is showing, and I hate that.
Yes, hated a lot.
11. I like some of the things that 11 did. 11 is now learning. She's learning a few things.
Mm-hmm.
They're still bringing back and to make her true to her character things like the whole promise thing that she did with Mike. I like that Hopper is trying to. It's weird because one moment he's calling her kid, like he's like talking to her in a very impersonal way,
Right.
and then he becomes really personal. When you see that he tells her that he's going to be back at 5:15,
Mm-hmm.
and he completely blows that.
Yeah.
And she's upset and she won't open the door and talk to him. But I'm going to start calling her Obedient L because she was obedient, didn't leave the house. It's nice.
Yeah, I really.
Obedient L.
I was hoping for her to
L.
leave the house so bad. I wanted to see some type of interaction between L and one of the members from the group. Doesn't matter who. As long as it was one member of the group, it'd probably be best if it was Mike.
She's talking to Mike. She's talking to Mike already. Through the radio.
Yeah.
Once in a while through the radio thing. I don't know how she can see Mike, but that's another thing. That's not a problem with the show. Really.
Yeah, that adds on to the mystery of it, which is really good.
Now the thing is, with these characters, it's so weird. Dustin didn't change much.
No.
Neither did Lucas.
Not too much.
A little bit. A little bit more
you see,
sarcastic. A little bit more like. It's kind of like they're almost shifting roles a little bit.
What do you mean by that?
As in, Mike was very compassionate, very kind,
Mm-hmm.
and he was always kind. He wasn't selfish. He wasn't selfish in the first season. He was more like, I really trust her. I really like. He was just more. I can't think of the word, but he was just very trusting.
Mm-hmm.
More than selfish. Now it's different. Now it's like. It's really, wow.
So I think what we're seeing is Dustin and Lucas are going back to how they used to be before L. And Mike and Will are going through changes because they've been through a lot. Like I said, Will being in the Upside Down and Mike losing L. They're going through a lot. So they're going to be going through more changes than Dustin and Lucas. Maybe we're just not picking up on some.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Lucas is going through a little bit.
Yeah. Because you mentioned Will, I really love when he's sitting down talking to his brother Jonathan.
Yes.
I think this happened in the second episode, where they're talking about going trick or treating, and he's basically trying to say, "Hey, you're not a freak." That was the second episode, right?
You're not a freak, or you're saying it's okay?
No,
to be
first
a freak?
he was telling him he wasn't a freak.
It's okay to be a freak.
Because Will kind of just blows up on him, and he's just like, "Hey, don't talk to me like that." And I'm like, I like that, because this entire year he's kind of felt like everyone's acting different around him. Like he has to act a certain way, and it's like.
I think that was definitely the first episode.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like the bond that a little altercation, his little confession, made with Jonathan, because as you see when they get in the car, he's like, I'll let you go off by yourself. Because he's trying to treat him like a normal person, because everybody else is treating him differently. Although John did have different motives behind it, it still felt genuine to me, and I really liked it.
Right. Yeah. With that being said, I would give the show so far. I would say maybe a 9 out of 10, just because I really enjoy everything that's going on,
Hmm.
and I still am holding hope that Mike is going to change. I'm still
He needs
holding,
to change.
yeah. Well, Finn Wolfhard is great, so I mean, you just give him one very emotional line or something, and like you feel for him, like you're like, okay, I forgive you, I forgive you, and then he like.
You did that when he was talking with Will. You said, "All right, there we go."
Yeah, because like I get like kind of get a little emotional when they start like I mean first episode when he was looking for 11,
Hmm.
like I actually got a little tears in the eye, little bit. I was like, oh man, it's so sad. I feel so bad for him. And the second episode, same thing where he says, well, if we're gonna be what did he say? Losers will be losers together, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
That's nice. That's nice. I was like, oh, that's just nice. It was, a good friend. People are being good friends. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in for this review. You can check out more reviews on my channel right now.